Allahumma barik wa salli wa sallim nahmadu wa nusalli ala rasulihil karim. Amma ba'. Continuation from yesterday's hadith. In another hadith is stated, there are three people whose salah does not ascend above, even a span above their heads. Listed among these are those who quarrel among themselves. In the above few paragraphs, I have digressed from the point under discussion. It was not my intention to discuss all these hadiths on quarrels or arguments. I merely did it to bring to your notice this great evil which we ignore, so much so that even those whom we consider to be noble and righteous are guilty of it. On the other hand, it must be noted that this quarreling, use of harsh words and cutting oneself off from one another is a crime and evil in Islam only when done out of enmity and hatred over worldly things and worldly causes. It is permitted to break off relations with someone because of his evil deeds or because of some religious matter wherein he is in the wrong and blamable. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu once quoted a saying on Nabi SAW, to which his son said something that outwardly appeared as an objection to it. The result was that Ibn Umar never again spoke to that son as long as he lived. There are several similar incidents related of the Sahaba. In our cases, Allah Ta'ala is all-knowing, all-wise, and He alone knows the true state of affairs, as to which relations are broken off because of deen, and which because of our own honor, pride and dignity having been hurt. The second point to which the hadith under discussion draws attention is that the man should be satisfied with and accept gladly the Allah Ta'ala ruling in all matters. For example, even though it seems that the loss of knowledge as to when Lailatul Qadr actually falls is a great loss, yet it has to be accepted because it's from Allah Ta'ala. Because of this, Nabi SAW said, it is better for us that way. One should ponder over this. Allah Ta'ala is at all time merciful to His slaves. Even when someone becomes overtaken by a great punishment because of his own evil deeds, he needs only to appeal to his Creator, admit his own weakness, and that same punishment is made the cause for greater good. Our ulama have pointed out quite a few advantages in our not knowing the precise date for Lailatul Qadr. First, had we known the actual location of this blessed night, there would have been many who would not have worshipped Allah Ta'ala at all during the other night. As things are, one has to stay awake and be in worship Allah Ta'ala for quite a number of nights, hoping that each night is perhaps the night. This means spending more nights in Allah Ta'ala's worship and getting reward for this. Secondly, they are among those who are just not able to avoid evil. How extremely dangerous and unfortunate for them would it be when, in spite of knowing that such and such a night is Lailatul Qadr, they might still spend it in sin and evil. A'udzubillahi min zalik. Once the Nabi SAW, on entering the masjid, saw one of the Sahabah sleeping. He said to Ali radiallahu an, wake him up so that he can make wudu. This Ali radiallahu anhu did, and then he addressed the Nabi SAW, "Oh Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are always the first to hasten towards any good deed. Why then did you not wake him up yourself?" To this, the Nabi SAW replied, "I feared lest this man may refuse, and refusal to my command is kufur, denial of deen. If he had refused your command, it would not be kufur." Similarly, Allah Ta'ala in His mercy does not wish that in spite of knowing which night is the real one, a Muslim should still spend it in sin and evil. Thirdly, if we did know, and in spite of that, for one reason or another, within or outside our control, we allowed that night to go by without worship Allah SWT, then it's very likely that thereafter, for the rest of Ramadan, no other night would have been spent in worship. Whereas now, many people find it possible to spend 1, 2 or 3 nights in worship Allah Ta'ala because we do not know which is Lailatul Qadr. Fourthly, every night spent in worship Allah Ta'ala on Lailatul Qadr is a night for which separate reward is promised. InsyaAllah, we will continue. May Allah give us taufiq to put all this into practice and convey to others. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamu alal mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Taqabbalallah.